And Sean joins us on the Harbor One hotline this morning. Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I assume there's a legal reason why in that little read that you just did, you can't say the name of the Boston hockey team?
I believe so. We would probably have to give them a bag of cash if we said that, or catches would.
Well, there you go.
We're saving that money
we
for you.
We don't want to do that.
We are saving that money for you, Mr. McDonough.
Well, you've probably saved enough by now, this deep into it. They cover the cost of this little exercise.
Shime earlier this morning.
Labor of love.
Well, we appreciate it. Shime during his lead this morning called this a mini slump that the Bruins are going through. Are you alarmed at all?
No, not alarmed. I mean, I think if it goes on much longer, it would be cause for concern. Right now, I think it's probably something that should almost be expected, given how great they've been for as long as they've been and, the comfortable lead that they have. I think with as long as the season is, with as close together as the games are, it's hard for any team to maintain the intensity level that they would have needed to maintain to keep going on the pace they were going, which is historic. So, it hasn't been great by their own admission. I saw Patrice Bergeron say, I think he used the word disconnected, and it's like they're cheating a little bit. And Jim Montgomery's not happy with the energy level and with the checking and with a couple other things. They're just sloppy all the way around. They got what they deserved last night. They lost to one of maybe the worst team in the league. If not, it's among the very worst. So, but they got outplayed. So, hopefully it snaps back in, because if we get closer to the playoffs and they're still playing like this, then yes, I think there's definitely cause for concern.
Well, Sean, after last night's loss, Montgomery did say the energy, the emotion at the lowest he's seen all year long. And I think sometimes if that's the case, and we're talking about sloppy play, that could lead to injury. And we've seen players now starting to come back. Does that worry you? You've got a guy like Brad Marchand who said he thought his hips would feel better by now, and they feel worse than he expected. And then he takes a digger last night. Luckily came back in that one, but I'd be worried if the energy and the emotion are so low and they're playing sloppy, that could lead to serious injury in a time that you want everyone healthy.
Yeah, I suppose it could. You never know, unfortunately, that game where injuries are going to happen. It's such a physical, high-speed game that I think no matter how you're playing, you're going to be at risk for it. They've been pretty fortunate with injuries, although, Courtney, I think you kind of hit on some of it. Maybe we're underestimating during this little down stretch the importance of losing Taylor Hall and losing Nick Foligno, who would both, very important contributors. And in the case of Foligno, was having a much better year than he had last year. So, and Hall's been one of their top goal scorers. So, the reinforcements have been good. I think what they've done to try to bolster the roster has been good. But that might be part of it, too. As good as Orlov's been, now you're taking defensemen in and out of the lineup. He's not rotating out Charlie McAvoy or Orlov or Hampus Lindholm, but the other defensemen, all of whom have been having a really good year, each night somebody's out of the lineup. So, and last night, I thought Forbert and Clifton were really bad. I mean, they were -3, and sometimes the plus-minus doesn't really demonstrate how you played. It can be a fluky situation, but, last night I thought they kind of were worthy of the -3. So, I don't know if the in and out is starting to impact some of those guys in terms of rhythm or that sort of thing, but it might be.
Yeah, Clifton got completely spun around on that first goal last night. It was not good.
No, and he's been excellent. I remember at the trade deadline when they first started putting up on Twitter and on the bottom line and ESPN, the trade with Washington. Originally, in some of the reports, his name was in it, that he was going to Washington. I thought, wow, that's really too bad, because he's been terrific. And so I guess everybody's entitled to a bad night, but I thought he and Forbert certainly had that last night.
Sean, you talked about some of the energy level. I know Courtney had, concerns about injuries. Does Montgomery ever get into a position now, because they have such a good cushion, where he has to say, okay, there's a good part of my core that are a little bit older in Krejci, Berge, and Marchand, where he goes, I might have to give these guys some rest, so going into the postseason, we can really ride their backs? Or is the slump maybe make him say, you know what, we got to play everybody and then that kind of leads them in that direction of just playing guys?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's one we've asked them, and I'm sure other people have asked them too. It's one of the benefits you would think of having this big lead. They're still 9 points up in the race for the top spot and home ice advantage. So, which I think is really, really important. I mean, we saw that last year when they lost in the first round to Carolina. The home team won every game. So, and Game 7 was in Carolina. So I think the home ice is important. They still have a really good cushion there. But, one of the things that he told us, Wiggy, was that he prefers to give guys the rest with practice time, that rather than hold them out of the game because they want to play. It's a guy like Bergeron or Krejci, any of those guys, they want to play every game if they're healthy. And so, he tends to reduce their practice time, was what he told us. So, and I did think it was interesting, and I looked forward when I was reading his comments this morning, does he think this is a product of fatigue the way they're playing right now? And he said no. And, I would agree with him. Coming off that trip out west, you could understand if there was a little fall off brought on by fatigue. But, they played very well that night. They got home against Buffalo. They've had some gaps in their schedule here lately, so that really shouldn't be what this is. And he doesn't think it is.
Well, a different philosophy then between he and Alex Cora. Alex Cora giving Chris Sale opening day off so he can enjoy the day.
Sean, have you ever missed a broadcast because it's your birthday?
Is that why he's missing opening day?
Yeah, it's his birthday.
So he can enjoy the day. Yeah.
I did. I missed working last year on my birthday because I had COVID.
Well, that's a gift.
I mean, I thought that was a pretty decent excuse. That and ESPN doesn't let you show up until you can test negative for COVID. Yeah, that was such a bummer, right? Last year, we're back in the hockey business for the first time in 17 years at ESPN. We get the playoffs. It's Bruins, Carolina, and Pittsburgh Rangers. So the first 3 or 4 days, we're going back and forth between the two series, which might have been why I got COVID, because we were doing a game, waking up at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, the next morning to fly to New York to do the Ranger game, then fly first thing the next morning back to Carolina. So anyway, I got COVID. So I missed, about 10 days, and had buddies of mine texting me, I thought you were supposed to be the number one, play-by-play guy for ESPN. I'm watching Game 7 of the Bruins. Where are you? And not only did I have COVID on my birthday, I had it on my 60th birthday, which is 60 was depressing enough. But but to feel like you couldn't even get out of bed for 3 days was made it that much more depressing.
But you've been doing Sox games for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
How ridiculous is it that Chris Sale is not pitching on opening day because of pressure so he can enjoy the day? I mean, how ridiculous is that?
I don't know. I don't know. Usually Alex is pretty good at managing people and situations. I don't know. I haven't followed it that closely. Did Sale ask for this? I just want to be able to enjoy it.
No, it was preemptively done by Cora.
I think there's going to be pressure anytime he goes out to pitch for a while, right? I mean, given the recent history where he's pitched very little over the last few years. I felt bad for him the last year when I was doing the game in New York with Joe Castiglione when he took the line drive off the finger. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. But anytime he pitches for a while, there's going to be pressure because he's pitched very little and they need him, and he's been paid a ton of money not to pitch.
Yeah. All right. Well.
By the way, are you allowed to mention the Red Sox name as part of this, or is that we just violate another?
We pay handsomely for that, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Plus, Sam Kennedy's the program director, so
yeah. I think we're okay there. All right, Sean. What?
Well, we were hoping for a mention of the Greg Hill show during his broadcast.
Oh, you know what? I totally forgot that. I know. I'll try to do it. Well, I can't do it this week because we don't have the Bruins. Not that. Well, it would be a little weird to sneak it in without some sort of reference to the Bruins. But,
well, just give us your
something. We'll get it done by the next few weeks. We don't have another Bruins game till April 8th.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll look forward to that.
Well, just give us your cell phone number, and then we'll text you right before the game, hey, don't forget.
Curtis, I know, has it.
Yeah, I'll remind you, Sean.
I'll make sure. I'll send you a nice gift. With
I will do it. I've done it before, and I've done less professional things for sure. So,
Sean McDonough,
we can make it happen.
Always a pleasure, and we will talk to you next week.
All right, I'll look forward to it. Just make sure one of these hits isn't on my birthday.